There's been a lot of conversation surrounding Flex's rear handle circular saw, so we decided to bring it in and test it against the best models we have. But hey, while you're here, we love what we do, and if you enjoy it too, please like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. Now let's get started. Notice Flex used magnesium for the cover, the guard, and the shoe on this saw, and while that reduces the weight without killing any of the strength of the saw, it isn't a lightweight saw overall. In fact, it's 10.1 pounds as a bare tool, but the 10 amp hour stacked lithium battery that comes in the kit brings it up to 13.6 pounds. Now that's not crazy heavy either. Milwaukee and DeWalt are in the same range, so we're not really worried there. But just notice that it's not as light as saws like Makita and Metabo HPT. The height change is exactly what you would expect it to be. You've got some etched markings in here to let you know where you are as far as depth goes. There are some differences in the bevel though, so you still have a typical locking clamp here, but the actual bevel settings come in right here where you can push in and twist into 22.5 degrees, 45 degrees, and then 56 degrees to wrap the whole thing out. Now, this is plastic, and I was afraid that it might be a little chintzy feeling, but it actually locks in really solid, and there's not a ton of play in it, so I'm not worried about this as a failure point. One thing I would like to see a little bit different is notice your bevel angle markings here. They're etched in, but I'd love to see some white or some black paint just to give it a little bit more visibility there. While we're on the front of the saw, let's take a look at the dust port real quick. So it doesn't come all the way across like some of the other saws. It also doesn't spit out the blade side like we see with most. It does pivot, and there's a stop right here, so it can only go so far. Now clearly this is designed to be able to let you throw dust away from you based on where the wind is going, all that kind of stuff, or connect a vac to it. What we found when we're cutting outside is it's easiest to just point this down so it's going away from the saw and away from our faces as we're cutting. And then if it's convenient for you, if you're collecting dust with a shop vac or something, that's when these other positions make more sense for us. Looking further around the saw, notice the handle here. Ergonomically, it's very well designed, it's comfortable. The texturing here on the overmold is pretty aggressive, and that helps you channel sweat, gives you a little bit more grip if you're sweaty or maybe have a little bit of grease on your hands. So notice the battery compartment is large enough to fit any of Flex's 24-volt batteries, and it comes with that 10 amp hour stacked lithium pack, and it fits in there just fine. There's room for the 12 amp hour battery as well. Flex does recommend the stacked lithium to make sure that you get the most performance out of the saw. Oh, and before I move on too far, Josh did want me to point out that there is onboard tool storage for the hex wrench. It's just one of his pet peeves. So there you go, Josh. And while we're on this side, notice you do have a good stout rafter hook if you want to hang the saw up when you're not using it. Now let's talk about what you're probably here for, and that's the performance of this saw. Now the brushless motor drives the blade at 6,200 RPM. That's faster than we've seen from Makita and Milwaukee and DeWalt, but you gotta have muscle behind it if you're gonna keep that speed up, and Flex does. We made a lot of different cuts, including cross cuts, miter cuts, bevel cuts, compound cuts, but where we really pushed this saw was in stacked OSB, and what we found was we could push it harder than we could push any of the other saws that we were testing. Now, all those saws do a great job, and they cut faster than you would normally if you're trying to get an accurate cut in the first place, but we got more power out of Flex. One other thing I want to point out is Flex's stock blade. It actually did a really good job. We normally recommend that you use the stock blade if you want to, but typically toss it, grab a premium blade, and do a better job. But this did a really good job just like it is. So feel free to use it up and then buy more of them when you're done. As far as price goes, you're looking at $249 for the bare tool, or a kit that comes with that 10 amp hour stacked lithium battery is going to be $399. It comes with a 5-year warranty, but if you register it by December 31st, 2022, you're going to get the Flex Founders Lifetime Warranty. After testing Flex's 24-volt rear handle circular saw, there's no question in our mind that this belongs in the top tier. In fact, this is the top performing saw that we've tested. It is a little bit heavier than some of your other options, but thoughtful features round out what we think is the best cordless rear handle circular saw available currently. If you have any questions or feedback for us, please feel free to leave that in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching.